All right, excited to be here today. I got my good girl here, Muffy. Good afternoon. Hey, girl.
Hey girl, hey.
Hey to all the mamas, maybe even some daddies popping in, grandmas. I'm excited to chit chat. This is not a like your typical interview, etc. This is Muffy and I kind of pulling back the curtain and having a conversation on camera that her and I often have behind the scenes. And
Mm,
our, let's say, our topic that we're surrounding today is talking about motherhood from the state of motherhood right now for Black women, but uninterrupted. And so there is no uh, flow. There's no list of questions. We're just chatting with you all and letting you into our conversation. So, first off, how you doing? Right?
I'm
There's so
you talking to me or you talking to them? Okay.
you.
Okay, girl. Yeah, it's been a busy morning already so far. The kids graduating from high school this Saturday, and it was, this morning was like
Yeah.
people are
Is it
coming
like
to town
hitting
last.
you?
No, it's just people are coming in town last minute, and I'm trying to get all the things together, trying to make sure everybody has a place to go and sleep and a ride from the airport, all the things that happen as you are ushering your children into their next season, going through those transitions. So it's been, and then he's going away in 2 weeks. So, yeah.
Muffy, listen, motherhood is being interrupted.
Yes. Well, is it, or is it flowing? I feel like the interruptions are other people. I feel like it's doing what it's supposed to do, though. You know,
But
and
how are you feeling about this? This is a new stage for you and for him. How are you feeling about it?
I mean, this is the second time going around. You know that because
Yeah.
me and you have a son that's almost the same age, and so this is the second one outgoing, and it feels familiar in that you know you look at them and you just can't believe that they are that age and that they are like they're more confident in going out on their own than you are in them.
Mhm. I would
How does
agree.
it feel for you right now? Because you got one coming up, right?
Next year, don't be
Yeah,
rushing
that's what
me.
I thought.
I'm sad again.
Mhm.
I think it is just telling, and it's a reminder to me that
Mhm.
my new like role as a mom is coming, sooner rather than later. I used to
Right.
talk all the time about like when they get to high school, then they're gonna be boom, 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 then we're gonna be done. And I talk with such excitement about it. And now boom, boom, boom is here because I got those back to back.
Mhm.
And it's like it's bittersweet. And he's my kid on the spectrum. So I have all of
Mhm.
these other like worries. Um, but it's a reminder to me that my title is more than mom.
Right. Right.
I don't know if you feel like that because as I think,
Yeah.
even though the kids, especially for our kids, we're not like kicking them to the curb because now you finish and now you gotta find your way.
Right.
But it is a reminder that like the way you needed me before is really no longer the way that you need me now, and this
Mhm.
as they're evolving, and so it's me leaning more into me, my,
Right.
my own past the I've been mom for like 20 something years,
Ever.
right. So what does this new me look like? Over the weekend, I love to shop, and I have been
You like all my friends. Y'all love going to the store.
I have been containing myself though, right? Because on this mission to purchase the farm. But
Mhm.
I came across last week somebody talking about estate sales. And I was like, "Oh, this sounds right up my alley." So I try to keep my Fridays light. So last Friday, I was like, you know what? I'm going to hit up these 3 estate sales. And Muffy, when I tell you I had so much joy
You found your
going,
thing.
I didn't ask anyone did they want to go. Like no friends, no other. It was just me because I'm like, this is something I know I will enjoy. I don't want to hear anyone's outside like, well, why are you doing that? And da 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 da. And is it gonna be? And you were. I didn't want to hear any of that. And I had such a good time. And I told my husband when I came back in, I was like, that was so much fun. I think this is gonna be like a regular occurrence for
It's a
me.
thing.
And I
Like
didn't have to spend a whole bunch of money. It was
yeah.
just something I enjoy. And even like the stories when you go into the estate sale, there was an estate sale
Mhm.
for like this artist in DC, Black woman, who was downsizing. She's just downsizing. But like the stories behind the items that she had in her home were just that like brings it to a whole another level. So
Right.
anyway, I just went on a tangent, but
No, I love it because it shows. I think that is the hardest thing to do at this stage in motherhood is to like step out on a limb and recognize you're gonna have to live this new life,
mm,
right? You're going to have to untangle in many ways the parts of yourself that identify as not mom, because you're going to do that for the rest of your life, right?
right.
But you're not necessarily going to do all the hands-on caretaking anymore. You're not necessarily going to be the teacher anymore. You're going to be more like a mentor and a guide.
Yeah.
And I think, my oldest son is about to have a baby. And that is like, I'm so proud of myself in this season
Mm-hmm.
because I've allowed myself to really like, I'm listening to conversations between my son and his girlfriend and listening to them trying to work things out. And
Yeah.
I'm not feeling the need to like go in
Mm-hmm.
because I realize number one, I love his girlfriend. Like to me, she's the bee's knees. Um, and I see myself so much in her. And the one thing I remember about myself is that age is that you couldn't tell me nothing. Okay.
mm,
He wasn't about to tell me nothing. So I'm like, I'm doing a really good job picking my battles of like, okay, they need support with this. And I've even started writing out in my journal at night, like, oh, these are the things that have happened that have instigated me, so to say. And
mm-hmm.
then I reframe it as like, okay, what is the question that really needs to be answered and how do I support? Not how do I take over, not how do
Yeah.
I come in and do all the things, but just how do I support and how is my support going to be best received? And I think for me, the interruptions are not my kids becoming adults or even the new baby. The
Yeah.
interruptions are all the things that are happening on the peripheral. The
Yeah.
interruptions are high ass rent. The interruptions listen, that's the interruptions. The interruptions are neighborhoods that are not cohesive, where people don't share with each other and ask each other and support each other. Like those are the interruptions. Everything else is just the stream of daily life that you have to manage because this is life. And I think sometimes as women, it is so easy for us to get wrapped up in the fantasy of
Mm-hmm.
what we want life to be instead of recognizing that, like, I just started listening to Michael Singer. He wrote the book, The Untethered Soul. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the things he talks about is recognizing that you are not purposed with always getting what you prefer. That's not real. Like we are all living in God's creation and
Yes.
there are destiny. We have moments of time where we look up and we're like, everything is exactly as I wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
But the vast majority of your life is not that. The vast majority of your life is in fact interrupted by the things that you don't prefer. But I think what it means to live life uninterrupted is to learn how to roll with it because you learn how to ride the wave of life instead of trying to escape what is happening. And I think that's what's bringing me peace right now.
Mm.
It's just like this is life. Life is interrupted to a degree, but understanding that I don't have control. Like this is God's timing. Everybody knows I'm into all the things. I do all the things, all. And so I knew early on my son was going to have a baby by 28. I read it in his astro chart. Like it was clear as day. Like there is a baby by 28. I didn't know it was going to come at 24. I was like, well, 27, I could do 28. I could do 24. Like I'm still young and spry.
Yeah.
So, it was definitely like a surprise. But it's also, like you said, it's giving me so much joy to think
Mm,
about my lineage is expanding.
yes. And that you can be here to witness it.
Right.
That's the other thing I
Right.
think about, being able to. I think that's the other piece that gets me emotional sometimes because, as you know,
Mhm.
I lost my mother early.
Mhm.
And so being in this season, anytime my children embark upon like their new, like the next level in their life, I feel emotional
Mhm.
because I feel like two ways about it. I'm like, I feel like it's unfair, but then I think about like the seeds that she planted early with them
Yes.
that allow them to be able to live the life that they live. So, like in saying motherhood uninterrupted, it is as we are moms leaving these seeds that help our children be able to live the life that they live. The reason
Mhm.
why some of my life is able to be uninterrupted the way it is because of the 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 pathway that my mother paved,
Mhm.
um, with her staying in the military, with her um, like leaving a will, with her leaving us financially like in a set place, leaving me a home, leaving me two vehicles. Like, a lot of times in our world, in the black mom world, in the black family, that it's becoming more and more heard of. But with
But it's rare. Listen.
my mother's generation is rare. And it was
Mhm.
at a time where some people are stressing when they're in their grieving stage. I was she set me up in a pathway where I was able to grieve freely, literally for a year,
That is
and
a
not worry about like, am I gonna have to be able to da, 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 da? Am I have to go have and go up to work? And I didn't have to, I mean, and I was pregnant, so that was it too.
Mhm.
But that I was able to like feel my feelings and go through the process, the stages of grief. And
Right.
then in that, she left this pathway that allowed me to have this like free, even the neighborhood that we live in, the value of our home now, like those things that she did. And I didn't understand it then. But now to be where we are, I'm
Sheesh.
just I'm just so thankful that she like, and it gives me now somewhat of a blueprint to be able to follow for my own children. Like, okay, I gotta have,
Right.
they have to have this. The thing that I want to do differently is I feel like my mother worked so hard, and this is black women in general to me. As black moms, we work so hard that oftentimes we think about we're setting up our lives for our children to
Mhm.
have a softer landing and easier life, that we don't get to enjoy the fruits of our labor
Right.
while we're here.
Right.
She did a little bit, and a lot of it was in the grandchildren that she did things like she paid for our oldest son to go to private school, like things that she didn't have the capability to do with me. She was adamant about doing it with her grandchildren.
Right.
But to me, it's a bit sad that she wasn't able to enjoy the fruits of her own labor for herself.
Right.
So
So
I
it's
think,
bittersweet in a lot
yeah,
of ways. And
yeah,
yeah, I think that number one, I think your mother is setting like for people like me, like I didn't have any of that. Like my parents didn't have anything to give. they don't. That it just is what it is. But it's definitely giving me like, what can I do for my grandbaby? What can I do for the generations that are coming behind me? And I think, for a lot of first time, first generation entrepreneurs, that is the thought that you have. Because as a first time, first generation entrepreneur, it is an extremely interrupted life. And yeah, right. You have to accept that you, I was talking to my coach yesterday, and one of the things he was saying, like, if you're going to do this work in a way that honors, the life that you want, you're going to have to accept that you're not going to necessarily see all the fruits of your labor as it
Mm,
relates to Brown Mamas, because Brown Mamas is really, I said it one day on camera, and I don't think I even really knew what I was saying. Is like, I'm a brown mama for life. Like, it's an intergenerational, beyond my generation project work. And so when you get to the point where you recognize you just may not see all the fruits of your labor, like
mhm,
it will be up to the women, behind you. And I think again that taps you into that stream of like releasing control, and just thinking about your mother and how much she probably had to like say, I'm not in control of all of these things. I
mhm,
can do this. This is what I can do. I can't control for all the factors. And I think as women, when we allow ourselves to go into that mindset of like learning how to just lean into our strengths and not necessarily ignore the deficiencies, because you want to become a better person over time, but being like, yo, that's just something I can't do over there. This is
mhm,
what I can do. And I think that is, I think if we could begin to just lean into that a little bit more, it really could change our ability to live more uninterrupted. How do you, I know, we both share that. We both share being first time, first generation entrepreneur. You're first time, first generation, right, Maya?
mhm, yeah.
Entrepreneur. How are you in terms of your day to day life, just managing it? Because I know that to me, that's the struggle. It's
Mhm,
just like managing all of the children and the business and the partner and the partnerships within the business. Because when you're in business, you don't just have one partner, you got 4, 5, 7 partners. And you got to manage all of those relationships.
and
How
the
are you,
team.
and the team? So at 40, I'm 43. Do you want to say your age?
I'm
Okay,
43.
you're 43 too. That's what I thought. I want to make sure
No,
because
I'm
everybody else.
happy to say it, okay?
Okay,
'Cause I don't look like it, so it's all
listen.
good.
So at 43, like, what is your? How do you manage it day to day?
Um, I think it is like I was talking to my son about this this morning, like knowing my alert hours, which are the times where I can like things that take a lot of brain power,
Mm,
and not scheduling like calls during those times, because I found myself, I'm an early morning person. I'm like, oh, let me just get my calls in early, da, 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 da. And then I was like, but calls don't take a whole lot of brain power.
mm,
Like the work, what I'm actually doing, client work, it takes a whole lot of brain power. So I started like, okay, because I get up like 4:30,
Wait a
and
minute, we gotta pause. My own gets up super early and she watches these weird videos with people doing mundane things. But it works for her. When you first showed it to me, I was like, what in the world? But
it
I was like,
keeps me
it keeps you
calm.
calm. Yeah, it does.
It keeps me calm. And because I realized I would get up and I would have all the things I have to do for the day would be on my mind. And
Right.
so that can put you in like your nervous system is like all out of
Mm-hmm.
whack. And I don't want to live like that. Like I want
Right,
calm and
right.
peace. And so that's why I started watching the Honey Jibu,
Mm-hmm.
like cooking and things like that. And so when I first get up in the morning, I also realized that when I would get up and not like do my prayer or read my Bible, that my day would be off too.
Right.
I'd be like snappy. By 1, 2 o'clock, I'm snappy, and I'm in here snapping at my husband because he works from home too.
Mhm.
So I start my mornings with that, and then I'm not in a rush. I had to start saying to myself, like, it's going to be whatever is going to be is going to be.
Listen.
I'm not a brain surgeon. I'm not curing cancer. It is not life or death for me.
Mhm. And is
And
that kicking in even more in the 40s? Because I find it
yeah,
so.
yeah, yeah. Before I was like, everything was important. Everything has to be done. Has
Right.
to be like perfectionism. Had to be da 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 da. I think it's part Virgo in me too. But now that I'm getting older, and I think it's getting older, and also the children getting older, and realizing like the time that they want to spend with me is like that window is getting smaller and
Listen.
smaller. And so, and understanding that it brings back up the things that are purposeful.
Mhm.
And
And
so, uh
I want to say, because we both have all boys.
yes.
So I am real, and I hate to say this, and I think they will come back. Like I know the boys come back at some point.
Mhm.
But when I was really thinking about it from just like an esoteric perspective, I was like, boys are scatterers of seeds and women are conservers of seeds. And so
Mm,
being boy moms, it's like recognizing that your sons are going, like we know biblically, I ain't a
yes.
Bible thumper, but I know my Bible. It says a
Yeah.
man will cleave to his wife.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we want for our sons. We want
Mhm.
them to marry and to love and to populate.
I do.
But how do we manage that? Because that also means that we stuck with the joker at our house.
I think that's renewing your relationship
Yeah. Yeah.
with your spouse,
Mhm.
renewing the relationship with yourself, and depending on like what your higher being, or renewing your relationship, for me, renewing my relationship with God, and like
Mhm.
finding happiness outside of motherhood.
Right. Right.
Because their accolades and their joys and the thing they're doing, like it started with like, oh, they're rolling over, oh, they're walking, oh, they're going to
Right.
school, oh, they got an A, oh, they in this concert, oh, they're going to prom, oh, they graduate. Now I have to, what are the things that bring me happiness
Mhm.
in my with my spouse? Okay, we need to like redate again. It's like what was okay when we first started is
Yep.
different now that we are 50, 11 years in, almost 20 years in. So, like, what does that look like? What does the things I want to do and the things that I feel like are important for our relationship?
Right.
Do you feel like that?
No, I absolutely feel like that. Like me and my husband, partner, I'm trying to stop calling him husband, my partner, we have gone through probably the toughest 2 years of our marriage, the last 2 years. It's been rough to
Yeah.
say the least. Um, but I think we learned a lot of valuable lessons about like there is relationship joy and then there's individual joy like you talked about earlier
Mhm.
going to those estate sale, the estate sales and how much joy that brought you. And I think it's just so important. I think every marriage gets to a point where you recognize that this is just one person.
Mhm.
They are just one person. They cannot feel the entire emotional, spatial, mental capacity of your life. Like it's just not, they don't have it. Like
Mhm.
even if they wanted to, they just don't have it. They don't have all that to give. And it's difficult sometimes, I think, when you together for 20 plus years
Yes.
and you two have become each other's everything.
All.
Literally. All
Mhm.
you go to bed together, you wake up together, you
Now
do
you work in
everything
the house
together, you
together.
work together, you at the
Like,
house,
go
we at,
somewhere, sir.
and you
You.
have to really start to untangle to a certain degree. Do you
Mhm.
be watching that couples therapy with Dr. Orna?
I've seen it. I've
It's
seen it. And I'm sometimes I now when you look at it, I'll be like, oh, I thought we was bad. We ain't bad.
girl, it gives you hope. I got hope now. You see what we doing
Like that's
today?
what's happening. Oh, okay. No, we all right. I just need you to get up off the blanket sometimes. That's all.
Right. Keep my footstool. Move over a little bit.
Yes. I think it's also growth,
Right.
realizing that we both are growing in different ways. I can see how people, I used to think in my younger days, like, how can you be with someone married 30 years and then divorce them?
Mm,
How? But as you evolve as a person, as you evolve as a mother, your wants and needs change as
they
you grow,
do.
as you age, as you see the world. And sometimes people are changing in different ways that it just doesn't like it doesn't add back up. And so
Right.
now as I've grown and I've aged, I can understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand even more that marriage is work. People look at
Yes.
you, people look at the social media cover, okay? That thumbnail that they see on social media
Mm-hmm.
and think that the marriages are I'm often confused when people be like marriage goals. There's no one marriage goals.
There is no marriage
There
goals.
is no one marriage goals.
I don't want nothing you got behind that curtain. I
Because
I
that's the
prefer
thing,
what
you
you got on
don't
Facebook.
know what is
No,
behind their curtain.
you
Even your
got
grandma and your papa. You don't
mm-mm.
know what grandma went through in papa. And that cousin Stacy might not really be your cousin Stacy, she really your sister. Right. You know what I'm saying? You
Oh.
don't know. And so I I will say that with for me, with aging and for me, like my faith walk is stronger
Mm-hmm.
because I'll be like, God, I don't want to be who I used to be and lay a person out. I don't want to speak those tongues. I don't want those words to come from right. I don't want to be the old me. And so having like at times faith of a mustard seed,
Mm-hmm.
being able to draw back to something that is greater than I to
Mm-hmm.
calm me at times where I feel overwhelmed because motherhood does put you in stances where you feel overwhelmed at times.
Yes, it does.
Still, even though they're older, there are things that make me feel that question that you asked me about, like balancing. I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
feel like that, but you're balancing and juggling even more. And my
Yep.
grandmother has said, like when she was alive. And I used to say to her, like, Nana, you got it easy now, because we called her Nana. Nana, you got it easy now. Like your kids are grown, your grandkids are grown, like you don't have anything to worry about. And she said, oh, you have it wrong. I
I've
have
heard
more to worry about.
mm-hmm.
I have grandkids, great grandkids, and instead of me worrying about just 5 people, because my grandma had 5, I'm now worried about 20.
That's the part. That's the part I know when they say, and I remember Chanel, she used to be our operations manager at Brown Mama's. And I remember when she had her baby and her grandbaby, and she said, Muffy, these grandbabies hit different. And my
Mm.
baby ain't even came out low. I said, you heard me, my baby. My grandbaby ain't even came out the womb yet. And I be looking at these two fellas like, yeah, y'all can mess around, mess with that baby if y'all want to. Like I
That's all
might
my mom used to say to me. Y'all, you do whatever you want to do. Bring my grandbaby.
bring my
You want
grandbaby
me to
to
come get
my
her?
house.
You want me to come get her?
Right.
Like she was not, and everyone who knew her knew she was not playing about. At first, it was just my oldest for 6 years, Zay.
Mhm.
Everyone who knew her, you see her, you see him, and she was not playing. You want to get on her bad side? Do something now.
Right. And that, and I think that's where, like you said, you really have to tap into your higher faith, your higher being, your the thing that is greater than you, because when it becomes like I said about your lineage, it's like this is literally what I will be known for when I pass. Is
Yes,
these children. It's how I interacted with these children, and more importantly, my interactions with their parents are going to determine how they interact with their parent. And we all know the parental relationships are just their identity defining. Literally, my mother and father are at my core. I couldn't remove them if I wanted to. And so I'm always just thinking about being as close to my godlike nature as possible when I'm dealing with my oldest son and his girlfriend and eventually my grandbaby, because you have to be like it's like, I hate to say you want to measure your steps. You want to order your steps.
Mm-hmm.
You got to order your steps when
Yes.
you start thinking about expansion of your family, whether that's with your kids, your grandkids, your great grandkids, because you're able to reflect back across your lifetime, see all the things that interrupted your life. And
Yes.
a lot of times they were detours on the way to your destiny. And you're like, okay, I know y'all think this is right. I know y'all think this is the way, but that is a detour that is going to take a long time for you to get back on this path. Because one of the things I've learned in life is, and I think this is so related to living a life interrupted, is you can't interrupt God's destiny for your life.
Mm.
Like it is
Yes,
what
sis.
it is. Girl, it is what it is. You're going to get there. Now, how you get there? You can get there battered, broken, and bruised,
Mm-hmm.
limping to the finish line, or you can get there with, a couple little scratches and I'm
Yep.
good. And that is, I don't think there's a such thing as, you can't really live a life uninterrupted. But what you can do is make sure that on the line, the route to your destiny, it's more like deferments than detours and delays. You
Absolutely.
know, so yeah.
I something that is coming up from was coming up for me as you were talking, and you kept saying uninterrupted. And at the beginning, you said like it's the outside forces that make it interrupted. And so, it's election time, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
And those people who are down here at that place they call the White House,
Mhm.
I feel like you were saying, a lot of the outside interruptions.
Right.
How are we going to take a hold and not allow them to interrupt? Because they're starting to interrupt in the way that they're interrupting our wellness. So, like mental wellness, because of the things that, like, I know a lot of clinicians and they're having issues with being paid from insurance companies.
Mhm.
And so then, therefore, now they're saying, okay, we're not taking such and such and such and such.
Right.
And then there are so many mothers, Black women are the number one who are being like let go from their jobs
Mhm.
in this last year or so. And so you mix, you are taking away pieces that we need medically. Now you're taking away our ability to care for our families. That is an interruption if I don't know one, which
Listen.
then will interrupt our, because a mother always wants to be able to care for her children. And so now
Mhm.
you're making it hard for us to be able to care for our children. Then they're talking about these changes that they're doing with like with food stamps, like certain foods now that you can't even get
Yep.
anymore.
Yep.
So it is interrupting in some of the most abrupt ways possible. So, how are we, like, what can we do, like, individually as moms, but then also, like, brown mamas to help mothers be uninterrupted, like, during this time? Like, what is it we can do?
Right. So I think it's two things. And I'll speak on an individual basis. I posted on Facebook this morning about Venus going into Cancer and what it means energetically for us. We have to get very clear on our values.
Mm,
We have to. Like, we have to get so clear and so poignant on the things that we value, and we have to be unabashed about protecting it. And values are not always, I know a lot of times when we think about, values, sometimes we can think very surface level and be like, well, I value my home, I value
Mm,
my paycheck, I value my relationships with my girlfriends. Those are all great. Keep those values if those are very the things that you value. But what is it about those things that you value?
mhm.
Because that's how we get to the level of things that we can actually have control over, and how we can begin to build bridges between ourselves and the people that can help us maintain and reinforce those values. So
Yeah.
you might say, I value my relationship with my best friend. What is it about that relationship that you value? Do you value that y'all can exchange kids sometimes? Do you
Mhm.
value the emotional labor you're willing to do on behalf of each other? Do you value the proximity with which you live with your best friend? Those are the things you should begin to fiercely protect. If you value the emotional labor that you have with your girlfriend, maybe that means inviting another friend in, because
Mm,
you're both waning on emotional labor. I didn't just lost my job and she didn't just lost her food stamps.
right.
Okay, maybe this two-person relationship no longer works. Maybe we need a third friend. Who is she? Is it your cousin? Is it your auntie? And she ain't got to be coming in as best friend, but she might be coming in as what they call a proxy, right? She is a proxy and she is here because she has something that we can hold on to and value, and we have something that we can give to her. We have to stop extracting from our communities, our relationships, our partnerships without giving value, because what ends up happening is the thing dies. And that's what we're seeing in the United States. So
Mhm.
that's from an individual perspective. In
Yeah.
terms of brown mamas, same concept, different space. Brown mamas, I feel like I'm finally, as an entrepreneur and the entrepreneur who built brown mamas, I feel like I'm finally, for the first time in my life, where I'm willing and excited to say what I value as a part of this business and this brand and this community. And the things that I value deeply are the connections that I've made with women. I
Absolutely.
mean, it is beautiful the way Brown Mamas have shown up for me throughout my career. Everything from not just like grieving and needing somebody to talk to, but just like, there's a project that I need people for Brown Mamas. I have a network of women I can reach out to. If there's a mom who reaches out to me, like I've been down here in Tampa for almost 2 years now, moms have reached out to me and asked for help. I'm not even in Pittsburgh, and
Mhm.
quickly I can get a group of 25 moms to be like, okay, we're gonna take her food, we're gonna get her to the doctors, we're gonna
Yes.
pick up her kids. That is valuable. So we want to lean back into that work of community work. And the second thing is, if y'all know me from when I first started Brown Mamas, I love communicating. It is my favorite thing to do. It is the thing that I wake up every
Yeah.
morning and I'm like, I could talk to y'all all day about anything. Opportunities, not just for myself, but for the moms that are on my team, for the moms that are in our community, to be able to communicate with clarity, to be able to share resources, and to be able to really create a platform that can host the ideas and the voices of Black women. And
Mhm.
so I feel like, despite what's happening at the White House, I really feel like this is a beautiful time for us to create some parallel systems.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to be surrounded by women like my own who are creating parallel systems for us to exist in. And so I think that's how we do it. What about you? What do you think, Maya?
Our voice is going to be a number one key to me.
Mm,
Um, our voice, as in like sharing in our community what we need, speaking up. So long, we as Black women have had a hard time saying that we need help.
mm,
It makes us, for whatever reasons, probably something undertone from our history, it makes us feel a particular certain type of way when we ask for help. Or in the back of our mind, like, I don't want to ask for help because you think that A, people are going to talk about you, or B, you're going to owe someone. For whatever
mhm.
reason, we don't like owing nobody, right? We were taught that owing someone is wrong. Um,
Right.
so having opening up the conversations in our community and speaking with each other for what we feel like we need as an individual, but then also what do we need as Black moms as a whole, all collectively.
Mhm.
That's one. But then two, using our voice to tell these people out here at the White House what we are going to let fly and what we are not.
Right.
Our voice is so powerful. We are powerful in numbers. Look what happened with Target.
Mm-hmm.
Look
And it
what happened
still
with
ain't nobody in there. It still ain't nobody in Target. You go in there, you be like, damn, ain't nobody
Okay.
in here.
And Walmart took it and said, okay, we got
Well,
y'all.
right. They sure
We're
did.
going to start bringing y'all better clothes because their
They
clothes just,
did. They did.
we're going to start bringing y'all better clothes, better brands. We got, oh, we even going to bring y'all brands in here.
Mm-hmm.
Walmart understood the assignment, okay? And so we need to start using our voice. Our voice is so powerful beyond measure. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and knowing that and remembering that in Brown Mamas, I'm excited that we are pushing Black mom voices to the forefront and letting them be heard. Because sometimes sitting at home and you may feel a certain type of way and you might have told your girlfriend, but then when you see someone who you know, another Black mom who looks like you, understands your struggles, understands what you're going through, speaking out and voicing the same concerns or speaking out and asking for the same things that you yourself at home have been needing, have been wanting, have been thinking about, it just gives you a different type of courage.
Right.
And I think that's so important that we are giving, I don't want to say giving voice to the voiceless because we are definitely not voiceless, but
Girl, have
maybe,
you ever been in a room with us? We got voice.
oh, but maybe we're now giving voice to the voice that's been unheard for so long
Right.
and we're
And
not afraid to do it.
right, I agree. And you're doing your podcast, which is giving the a voice to women, Black women in business. Let's talk some about that.
I, it's the same thing, giving voice to those who aren't heard. I have gotten tired of when I turn on YouTube or when I turn on a podcast that I am hearing people talk about building a business or how they built their business and they don't look like me. So you
Mm,
don't understand. I was watching an interview with Reese Witherspoon, who I absolutely love her, adore. And Harvard Business Review has this channel on YouTube or whatever, and they were interviewing her, and she was talking about her like starting her business and creating this business that she created, like her production company. And then she said her mother was a nurse, and then she taught classes at the college campus. And even in hearing that, I'm like, your story is so different than many of the women that I know
right.
that look like me. Because your mama was a nurse. And then she did share that sounded like her dad might have had some gambling problems, but she said it in a nice way. I appreciated
Mhm.
that. But they then hit financial issues that made them have to have a bit of struggle. But you had a chance to see what it was like on that opposite end for a great span of your life. The women that I talked to, as you and I just said, we're the first.
Mhm.
Many of us are the first to go to college, some even the first to graduate high school.
Right.
So the first to, and then living in neighborhoods where sometimes it's unsafe for you to walk to school. Sometimes it's, I remember my husband taught high school in Baltimore like 16, 17 years ago. And one of his students used to have to leave school early because his mom had to go to work and he had to go home to take care of his little brother that was like a toddler, a
Mhm.
high school student, having to leave school early. So there's no focus. And so
Right.
these
Right.
are the people that I'm talking to. That mom who was working at McDonald's, who was having her son leave, and then was able to build out this business. That woman who was having issues with medically with finding a cure or something to help her child with eczema, which many Black children have eczema. Our skin is different,
Right.
right? our makeup, our genes are different, and people aren't taking the time to learn that about us, and so we're having to do it ourselves. And
Right.
so hearing the stories of these women, it almost reminds me of, I think about like Harriet Tubman and her saying there's got to be another way, and
Mm,
having the Underground Railroad, and then coming back to bring others. And so this is me saying, okay, I knew there was another way, creating a business. Now I'm coming back to pull other women forward with, if you could just hear one of these women's story on the podcast and understand that your life would be different. I also interview many Hispanic women, and we talk about colorism
right.
because it is still alive and rampant in our communities.
It really is.
And hearing it from a different end of the spectrum, from someone who's Dominican, talking
Hmm.
about colorism. And I'm like, we are all minority women with the same issues.
Absolutely.
And so I I have a skill set, something that I love to do, marketing. And so how dare I not use this gift that was given to me to allow others to use my platform to get their word out, to share their service, to share their wisdom, to share their expertise. And I'm very excited. It's some we
Excited
just
for you. I can't wait to listen in. It's already launched, so
yeah,
you can
it just
listen right
launched.
now on all
We have
platforms.
4 episodes now. We release every Wednesday. The episode today, I'm talking to the episode that released today is from a nurse, a Black nurse, who has a doctorate, and she specializes in nurse leadership. But to hear her story of how she started with someone in her family was ill when she was younger, and she would basically be like their CNA, and then
Mm,
she became a CNA. And so she tells her journey of like, you see her now today and you wouldn't fathom that her story is what it is. And
right.
she's a mom, and she has all girls. She's the opposite of us.
Mm,
But she did all of this while being a mom and a wife. And now she's telling other people like what leadership looks like. And so she's reaching back for the nurses who are just coming out, and some of them who are trying to also expand their nursing background. And
hmm.
so she, again, someone else using her platform, using her expertise, and seeing the issue that we have in healthcare and wanting to make a change.
Right.
Like the quality of care that we are receiving is, I dare to say, when I look at some other countries, is subpar.
Oh, it absolutely is subpar.
Subpar. And so she's,
Absolutely.
hey, I want to be a part of the solution. And so she is she's from Ghana. So she is now part of like an organization, the Guyana Diaspora um, Nurse Organization, where they go back and they train nurses in Africa because they
Oh,
don't have the
wow.
training that we have here. Yes, she spends like a week or two over in Ghana, and they're doing a training. They do a conference, they have a gala. And then
I
this,
love that.
yeah, this year she launched a scholarship
I love
for
that.
nurses in Ghana. She had an event, and the some of the proceeds from the event went to for a scholarship for nurses over in Ghana. So
Now,
it's
I have a question.
yeah,
On the podcast, and I'm hoping you will say yes. Are we going to get opportunities to get tidbits of advice without other people from you? Because I feel like that would be useful.
absolutely.
I would,
So
yes, I would
the
listen.
the thing that I actually did with the podcast is I did like every other episode is an interview.
Okay, good.
So
Yes,
episode
I
from
will
me,
hear from you.
episode from someone. Yeah. So it is funny enough. So far, the episode that has had the most amount of streams or downloads has been the episode with me that is Hustle to CEO,
Mm-hmm.
where I talk about like how initially we start off when we're hustling, and like that's not that's not what's going to get you to your next level.
Right,
And
right,
so that's a podcast episode. And I literally break down the steps like, okay, here's what you need to do. It
oh,
doesn't happen in a day, but
right. But
steps.
those are my favorite types. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts. I like interview podcasts, but my favorite ones that I listen to consistently is just like that person letting me come into their brain a little bit. Because I feel
Mm,
like I was talking to this with one of our community, I don't want to call her elders, but she's like super smart woman, has traveled all over the country as a
community advisors.
yeah, she's a community advisor and she's traveled all over the country doing all types of consulting work for big companies. And I was saying how, like, I feel like in my life, the points where I've really grown is when I had an elder to like sit at the feet of. And I
Mhm.
feel like podcast is that opportunity. Like it's an opportunity to really sit at the feet of some of the great people in our community who have knowledge to share, or even young people in our community who have knowledge to share. And there's boundaries. I mean, I think we have to admit at some point that Black women, sometimes we have a hard time getting along. Not all the time. I think
Yeah.
women, period, like we're
Mhm.
very,
We got a
we
lot
can
of mean girls
we have
spirits.
mean girls, and we're women can be very territorial. Like we
Yeah.
don't want everybody in the space. And so I think podcast is a really good way to be like, oh, that's my sister friend through my cell phone. And
Yeah.
when I have a problem in this area, I can go to her space online and I can listen to what she says. And so I'm excited to listen to your wisdom because I want to.
Cheers.
How long you been an entrepreneur? It's been a while.
I think I saw a thing, a photo, Facebook memories. I think I'm going into year 10, Muffy.
Yeah, so that's a decade of knowledge to share that you can reflect on, that we can learn from. So I would encourage y'all to make sure y'all go and listen to my own. What's the name of the podcast? Is it the Prison Effect?
No, her business, her voice.
Her business, her voice. So make sure y'all go and listen to the podcast. Well,
So
we only got
while
three
we're
minutes.
talking about on podcasts and topics and such, um, if you had a podcast, what would you talk about? Just curious.
Life,
Live, live.
life. I feel like I've had a life. I'm a life path number 5 in numerology. 5 is the number of chaos. So I just feel like I've had a lot of life that I've had some really great highs and I've had some low
Mhm.
lows.
I could
I
see
was
that.
reflecting this morning on a lot of people don't know this about me, but when I was 21, my stepdad was brutally murdered
Mm.
and left in the street to die. And I was reflecting on that because it happened right after my oldest son's first birthday. And I was just reflecting on how much emotion I did not process from that event. Like I just kept going. I remember coming home from his funeral and his I don't know how people will interpret this, but his spirit was in my hallway and he was staring at me.
Mm.
And I just remember I was so scared and I just told myself I wasn't going to think about him anymore. And I didn't. Like I suppressed it very deep within myself. And now, after 40, all of the suppressions that I've had over these 43 years are surfacing. And for the first time, I'm dealing with these emotions. Um, and so when I do start a podcast, finally, that's probably one of the reasons why I haven't done it is because I have so much in my life that I have to still process.
Mhm.
And I want to do that slowly and methodically and without re-triggering myself. My one of our moderators, I met with her this morning and she reminded me of that. She was like, you have to be careful when you're storytelling not to re-trigger yourself, at least not purposely.
Yeah, you're
And
not supposed to
so
be in the trenches.
yeah, when you tell a story,
Story.
right? You're
Yeah.
supposed to be on the other side of it. And
Mhm.
so I'm not on the other side yet,
Yeah.
but I would love to do a podcast. But number one, I need somebody like my own to keep me on task because we already know this is going 50 million directions. That's 50 million.
I was like, "Oh, this. I'm gonna do this.
Right. Just some of this, just some of this, and then I don't do nothing, or I do one thing. So I need a lot of time to process and to just, process my own story. And then once I do that, then maybe I'll start a podcast. But
You know what I see you doing, like in my mind, and this might not be the initial podcast. This may be like maybe the second or third iteration. But like you remember, I know they canceled him, but I still like him. Will Smith when he used to like go on these different things, like trying out different things, like
I still
hey,
watch. Listen, I watched Will Smith on National Geographic
I
going all
I
crazy.
foresee you like if you had a podcast, not actually doing those things, but like Muffy in the kitchen cooking and telling us like I foresee your podcast being more storytelling like with some lessons in there, like some
Yeah,
nuggets.
I could see that.
Like a better version of, but it's not always cooking. Like one day it might be cooking, one day you might be like doing yoga and talking through da 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 da. The next day it's such and such. Like that's how if I were producing it, like maybe the second iteration, that's what I would foresee. And then
Yeah.
if you interview some folks, it might be you doing yoga with so and so, and then you're talking about the different things.
Girl,
Or
stop giving away the ideas on live. Like we for the meetings. You got to keep those
somebody
for the
might need
meetings.
this idea. Somebody might need it.
Talking too
Somebody might need it.
okay. Yeah. One day I'm definitely gonna do something and I know it will be good when I do it. But until then, I'm excited to be able to learn from people like you, Myown. I always remind you that I'm so grateful for you. Myown is my marketing manager, director, all the things. She
Yes.
keeps me
And
like
friend. My best title is
and
friend.
friend,
Yeah.
definitely. My own is one of my business besties, so I'm grateful for her and her guidance and her. What's the word I always say to Mikhail? I'm grateful for your sturdiness.
You know,
Because you be like, that, not it. You're doing too much. And I'm grateful for that because I be needing my earth people in my life because this fire over here be trying to burn it down.
I'm
So
not doing that. I'm doing it. I'm like, wait a
yeah.
minute. Flag on the
And
play.
she'll just ignore me when it gets too much. She'll just be like, you know what, put Muffy on silent and we talk to her when it's a good time. But that gives me a clue, like, okay, you might be going overboard. So I'm grateful for you and your presence and the spaciousness that you've given me inside of Brown Mamas by taking some of the task off of me. And just your grace. I appreciate it immensely. So yeah.
Well, I have to say thank you back because even still today, I think, are we on year 4 or 5? What year are we on?
We we've been doing it's like 6. We've been
Oh,
together since the pandemic. Since the pandemic.
yeah. We need a little celebratory trip. No.
We do. That's the truth of the matter.
I even still like when I'm going through content, to post for Brown Mamas, and I watch some of the videos back, like videos I haven't seen, and I hear the stories, and I'm just reminded even more like, look what you have created. It astonishes me still. 6 years.
We've created these things.
Yeah, I know, but you started it. And in my mind sometimes I wonder like, does Muffy realize what she has done? And it really what just really pinged back for me is what we have on my mom's headstone. May the work I've done speak for me.
Mm.
And I don't know if you feel like that.
Oh, that's one of my goals. Like I love doing this.
The goal is I would say the goal, you could say your goal has been complete. Because when I looked back and I was going through like all the content, especially like for the revamp and everything, and I was listening to the stories and like going back through the photos and like looking at the website, your work is speaking, Muffy. Like 10 years later, 15 years later, they're gonna be like, your grandma, remember when da da da? It is
22 websites later.
we ain't gonna tell everybody all that. We're not gonna. I'm not even gonna count all that. We're gonna bypass all that. I'm not even gonna count all that. You have made such and it's not just in Pittsburgh, and I want you to know that You've made such a huge impact for Black moms. Anytime someone says Black moms, I immediately, if I'm having a conversation with someone, if I'm on threads about something, I'm like, oh, you need to know Muffy.
Thank
Because
you. I
in my mind, like, that's the Black moms, Muffy. Black moms, brown mamas. And so you should be so proud. Your children and your husband have to be so proud and honored to have you. I am honored to have you as my friend, but
Same, sis.
I'm honored to work with you as well because, and you push me past my limits sometimes. I'll be like, what's she talking about?
I
What she want to
do.
do? And I'll be like, oh, okay. But it makes me reimagine what
Mhm.
something can be.
Right.
So I just want to thank you for that.
Well, we're gonna keep this
That's
synergy.
what you need. That's what you need to be uninterrupted. You
Mhm.
need a sister mama friend who can keep you accountable, who will love on you, care for you, hold you up when you feel down. Um, it reiterates like back even during slave time, the thing that was most important, like when we used to sit around the fire after we
Mhm.
would massa doing the fields and in the house at the end of the night and we come around the fire and gather together.
That part.
And that's what you need as a Black mom. And that is the thing that will continue
Oh,
to
girl, that thought just gave me like chills for some reason. I don't know. Like it just, yes, I love that.
Mhm.
I love that.
So,
Well, thank y'all.
yes. Thank you for being in on me and Muffy conversation, being nosy. Being nosy in me and Muffy conversation. It's like we was on the phone and we accidentally three-way called y'all. No.
Yeah, true story. Because we be having these conversations. So, but thank y'all for tuning in. We appreciate y'all. Keep following us at Brown Mamas. Myown, tell them where to follow you at.
Um, well, you can. Well, let me finish. Follow us at Brown Mamas on all platforms on YouTube. Make sure you follow, subscribe, and leave a comment on Instagram, on Facebook. If you are not in the Brown Mamas community, I implore you, if you're in Pittsburgh, to join the Brown Mamas Facebook community. You can see our website for resources that you may need, again, for Black moms, as well as for being up on being in the know of what's happening in Pittsburgh. Make sure you check out our Instagram page. I'm excited about this piece. We have a magazine that is coming out.
Yes!
How could you forget? Okay, this is why I'm here. We have a magazine coming out that we have been working diligently, really hard on. So we are excited. So if you have a story to share or a story to tell, or if you are a Black mom who has a product that you'd like, hey, I think this would be a great product and you want to promote, leave a comment down below and someone from the team will reach out to you to get you the link for you to share an article, to be featured in the magazine, or to feature your product. If you are an organization and want to team up with Brown Mamas, and you are an organization who wants to team up with Brown Mamas because you are an ally, because that is
Right.
important to
Right.
say. We would love to hear from you as well. If you're looking for me, you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, I'm Myown Now, or on YouTube, The Prism, PRISM, Effect, EFFECT. You can also watch the podcast episodes there as well. And on the podcast, Her Business, Her Voice on all platforms.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Catch up with Myown and me and Brown Mamas and all the women that we support and represent. And have a great Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
All right, y'all. Peace.
See ya.